This is Renelle, and welcome to Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and friends. And here he is now, your host, my main man, Rod Brooks.
Thank you very much, Renelle. Indeed, this is Quality Hang, and I am Rod Brooks. And as always, I am joined on this broadcasting adventure by my partner in crime, my homie, my friend. He is Marcus Osborne. What up, man?
What is up, man? Rod Brooks,
Yes,
I
sir.
am super jealous of your studio setup. It
Thank
is filled with activity and lots of stuff. It looks cool. I got a blur, and so I gotta get.
We're gonna get you hooked up. We're gonna get you. Yeah. We're gonna get you hooked up. But I will tell you this: what the people's is saying, what the streets is saying. And by the way, that's streets with a Z, so you know it's cool. What the streets is saying is that they like how you bring it on the sophisticated tip, not just with your gear, with your outfits, with your clothes. Because like one time you rocking a bow tie. But they like how you got that whole professorial. I think I just made up a new word, but you know what I mean. How just your whole get down, man. Where you add a to contrast me being an overgrown child and having all these toys. You can't even see what's on the other side of the camera. There's just more stuff, more toys I've accumulated because I am still suffering from adolescence that I didn't feel like I had when I was actually a child. Arrested development, that's the term I'm looking for. You balance that out by actually looking like an adult and bringing some gravitas. So that's why we work together so well, right?
That's it, baby. That's it. Right.
You're the adult.
What's the last toy you got?
Last toy I got for Christmas. You remember those old Evel Knievel motorcycles where like here's Evil. I don't know if
the ones that you twist.
Yeah. So you get motorcycle, Evel Knievel. You got the action figure. Oops, it's not a doll. It's an action figure when you're a boy. And you wind it up and let it go. Hours of fun. 50 years later, still. Hours of fun. As always, Quality Hang is sponsored by the fine folks at Hop Monk Taverns. 3 locations to serve who? You. That's who. 1 in Novato, 1 in Sonoma, and 1 in Sebastopol. Great food, great atmosphere for families, and also great craft beers and great live music as well in all of the venues. So see what they got coming up live music-wise. They always have some really sneaky good artists that come in and they sell out quick. So check them out online at hopmonk.com to see what they have going down. Speaking of going down, your Golden State Warriors, they did indeed go down to the capable basketball talents of the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was a gentleman's sweep, a 5-game series that ended up being 4-1 in favor of Minnesota. Before I play this sound from Steph Curry and we get into deep this Warrior postmortem, this Warrior autopsy, Marcus, just your general thoughts on how this season went. You want to talk about ups and downs and then back up once they got Jimmy Butler and then back down, obviously, and losing the series to the Timberwolves. Just your overall thoughts on what we got out of the Dubs this year.
I think that you got far more out of the team than I gave them credit for. I didn't think they'd win 48 games this year, right? I didn't think they'd win. I thought they were going to be a team that was lucky to be 500. And as a matter of fact, I'm certain that I said this at the beginning of the year, even after they were 12-5 or whatever they started the season. I'm like, yeah, the only way the Warriors accomplish anything this year is if Steph Curry plays at an MVP level and Steve Kerr is coach of the year, because I didn't believe that this team had the talent to compete on this level again. And I was proven wrong. And I think that also credit to the Warriors front office, because they dug that. They took a big swing at Jimmy Butler, got that home run, it literally got them out of the bottom of the barrel. What were they, 11 or 12th when he got to the squad?
Yeah.
I mean, they turned around, had the number 1 defense in the league. They had one of the best records in the league. They were one of the best free throw shooting teams in the league from the time he got there to the time the season ended. So if you are a real Warriors fan and not some weirdo You you have to be content with the fact that they played a much younger, more athletic Houston squad that probably led to their demise in the second round against the Timberwolves, because once you lost Steph Curry, you were already underdogs. But once you lost Steph Curry, I think we all kind of knew that was going to be the end of it, right?
Well, when you lost Steph Curry, you lost everything. You lost any ability to be competitive. And the thing is, it goes beyond Steph's just the points he generates. It really does go beyond that. But before we get into how deep Steph Curry's impact is and how it does go beyond scoring, I want to play the sound for you from today, where various Warriors, Steph, Draymond, Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, all got in front of the media and, did one last press conference. And here's Steph talking about what could have been had the Warriors have gotten to a Game 6.
Kind of a line for Game 6. I had some testing to do, and who knows how that would have went, because I hadn't gone live since Game 1, and first time dealing with this injury. I was pretty optimistic, but there were a couple more check points to get through, but it's a great what.
Yeah, it's the great what if.
It always is, though.
It always is. I said this to you before we went live, Marcus. If the Warriors would have won last night, he plays in Game 6.
Pretty sure that
they push all their chips to the middle of the table, understanding that there was a chance for re-injury if he did play in Game 6, but it was worth it to have a chance to win this hypothetical, which of course never happened, this hypothetical Game 6, and then get to a Game 7, and you try to throw a haymaker in downtown Minnesota.
Would that have been a bad move?
No, I don't think it would have been a bad move at all. And obviously the problem is that you didn't get to that Game 6. Why did you not get to that Game 6? Again, all credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a younger, more athletic, and healthier and better team than the Golden State Warriors. But I just want to point out three guys, Marcus. And listen, if Steph's saying that today, the Warriors knew before tip of Game 5, hey, man, there's a chance that Steph could come back in Game 6. If we get this bad boy, if we steal this bad boy, and they were looking good until you got to 2 minutes left to go in the second quarter, and then Minnesota went on that run, and that pretty much iced it, even though it did, at times feel like the Warriors could win, and then you realize that they couldn't. But if we know that now, Steph says that he could have played in Game 6 today, the Warriors, who absolutely without a doubt, and this is where you get into Steph Curry's importance that goes beyond the box score, number of points, although that is very important. There's three guys who need Steph Curry to be around. And if you win Game 5, you have him around and you're three better basketball players. I'll start with Jimmy Butler. He was 2 of 5 from the field in the first half last night. And this has been a problem for Jimmy Butler over the last couple of games of this series. For him, and considering the gravity of the situation, a minimal amount of field goal attempts. He had 11 field goal attempts last night, total. Okay?
Yeah.
11 total.
And then he had 9 the night before?
He had 9 in the game before. Yeah. Free throws. He had 5 free throws in Game 4. Now, he did have 11 free throws last night. That's great. But only 11 field goals, 9 field goals in the game before.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done. And we were talking about this before we went live. Clearly, Jimmy Butler was fatigued. The gluteus maximus injury affected him. But I think more than anything else, 2 things affected him. First and foremost, Jaden McDaniels guarding him very closely, as the Timberwolves were able to do, because you don't have Steph, you don't have to worry about him running around with the perpetual motion, and you don't have to worry about his relocates, so you can hug up on guys like Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield, who I'll get to in just a second. But Jaden McDaniels was a problem for Jimmy Butler, and not having Steph and that freedom that Steph provides was a big problem for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
To me, you play a little bit better. I want to be careful with my words here. But if you're a little bit more forceful in Game 5, maybe, just maybe, you play in a Game 6. Then Steph Curry comes back, and your job is made easier, as it had been made easier when Jimmy Butler got here and Steph was playing, and Jimmy Butler in his play, because of Steph's play, elevated the Warriors.
Yeah.
Draymond had absolutely nothing for Julius Randle the entire series.
Well,
absolutely nothing.
We talked about this before the start of that series. There's one guy who is always given Draymond Green fits. It has been, we're talking about going back to the Lakers. He's very similar to Draymond in terms of temperament, but he's bigger. He's also bigger, and he's strong, and he's active. And I don't know what it is, because Draymond does well with strong, big guys, but for some reason, this guy's game gives him fits.
Here's the thing. Randle is very skilled. Randle does not run out to the three-point line, although he can shoot that. Julius Randle is very comfortable operating in that mid-post range, and with his length and his size and Draymond Green's, let's just say, over the course of that series, Julius Randle was the best player. Julius Randle was the best player in that series for Minnesota over the course of the series because of his talent, and also because Draymond Green absolutely did nothing against Julius Randle. The only thing that Draymond Green, he had more texts and flagrants and more speeches about how he's looked at as an angry black man than he did resistance for Julius Randle. And the third guy, Buddy Hield. Okay. You got good Buddy for 2 games. You got bad Buddy. Well, the last game of the Rocket series, game 7, and then the first game of this series. Then the rest of it was bad Buddy. 2 for 9 last night. 0 for 4 from 3-point range. He had Buddy Hield, if my math is right, I'm looking here. He had the same number of fouls and turnovers combined. Yeah, 9. 5 and 4, respectively, as he did shot attempts. Those 3 guys desperately need Steph Curry on the court for them to operate at their peak levels. And last night they played that game. And I said this earlier today. Last night they played that game like it was the second game of a back-to-back in February. That wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Particularly Draymond. Okay, you're the 2 dudes other than Steph, right? And again, giving all credit to Minnesota. Okay, but you're the 2 dudes other than Steph. For them to play the way that they did in those last 2 games. You know what I got to do? I got to give it those performances, the Gucci Mane face. 2 for 9 from the field for Buddy Hield, 11 field goal attempts for Jimmy Butler in a do or die game. You got to get the Gucci Mane face.
The more we talk about this series and the more I think about it, I think that the biggest factor is the fact that the Warriors defense fell apart, because they scored enough points to win each one of these games, but they weren't stopping anything.
Well, they weren't stopping 2 guys in particular.
It was
they were not stopping Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards. And so what does that tell you?
They weren't stopping anybody.
No, but I'm talking about you're right, right? Because Minnesota,
like those dudes, like when it comes to these teams, you expect the best players to do what they do. But all these other dudes, Mike Conley got loose. He hit for 3 or 4 threes last night. Who else got loose? Reed got loose. Jaden Daniels got loose. It's the others who really do you in. You give up 62% field goal percentage. You're not playing good defense.
No, you're 100% right about that. And
at all.
Talked about this before the series started. Minnesota was the second best 3-point shooting team in the Western Conference by percentage points, only a 1/10 of a percentage point behind Phoenix, who was number 1. So for the Warriors,
were getting wide ass open threes. It was I was watching like, why is this dude wide open?
But who are your 2 best defenders? Who are your 3 best defenders? Draymond
wide
Green,
ass open,
Jimmy Butler, and Buddy Hield. Draymond had nothing for Randle, so you can't guard down low. You can't guard the point of attack. Anthony Edwards getting anything that he wants to. And on the flip side, Minnesota, they were able to guard in the post as much as you need to with this current iteration of the Golden State Warriors, and they were able to guard out on the perimeter, like I said, because they didn't have to worry about Steph, Jaden McDaniels in particular. So, yeah, everything fell apart for the Warriors, and it falling apart with these three guys, Butler, Draymond, and Hield, who Hield showed himself to be a capable defender.
Yeah.
Right. He was definitely out there. He was giving his efforts and was showing that he was capable. For those three guys to play the way that they did in those last two games, I'm going to need a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you look at the plus minus on all those guys. Everybody was a negative. Again, you see that like Jonathan Kuminga got his points in the first half and then gives you nothing in the second half. And throughout the entire game, not really a great defender, particularly a help defender. Just a lot of brain farts. And when your best player is Brandon Podziemski, you're going to lose a game. You're going to lose the game. And he unfortunately, his best game was not really shared by anybody else in the team.
And listen, the Timberwolves were more than happy for Brandon Podziemski to play the way that he did last night, because you know what that meant? That meant that Jimmy Butler's not doing anything to you. That means that Buddy Hield's not doing anything to you. Minnesota was perfectly happy with the way that that Jonathan Kuminga played last night, because what does that mean? That means that Jimmy Butler's not doing anything to you. That means that Steph Curry is not on the court, because that's where Jonathan Kuminga flourishes. And get to Kuminga here. Good for him, right? I obviously, and I'm sure you don't either, got nothing against the kid. He had a 2-game opportunity to showcase his game, and he did that. 28 points last night, 23 points in game 4. I do have to point out here, though, that Kuminga had no rebounds in game 4 and had 3 rebounds last night. Combined, he played in he got 60 minutes and change worth of burn. You play an hour's worth of basketball.
You be that athletic. I mean,
and you get 3 rebounds. Nah.
Come on, man.
That dog ain't gonna hunt. But here's the thing. He does not operate well with Steph Curry. It's just what Jonathan Kuminga does and is good at, and what he wants to do on the basketball court offensively does not line up with how the Warriors rightfully play when Steph Curry is around. And listen, people talk about, well, Steve Kerr is holding him back and this, that, or whatever. Folks, nothing happens for the Golden State Warriors if Steph Curry isn't down with it.
That's right.
And Steph, it's not a personal thing, it's a basketball thing.
That's right.
Steph Curry is not a fan of Jonathan Kuminga's game. Okay? Yeah. He's just not a fan. And if Steph doesn't like it, you're not playing. If Steph is cool with you, if he likes the way that you operate within the framework of what they do offensively, you will get run. You will be on the floor, and you will be on the floor with him. But if Steph, and again, this is not a personal thing. This doesn't make Steph a bad person. This is just hoop at the highest level. When the guy, and Steph is the dude, he's the guy.
That's right.
When he does not bang with you, whoever you may be, you're not going to play. And you're definitely not going to play with him. And that's the Jonathan Kuminga. That's the Gordian knot. That's the problem. He's got talent. He's got talent for days. He's got flaws. I think the talent outweighs the flaws, but his biggest flaw is he can't bang in the basketball sense. He cannot bang with the dude that has everything tailor-made for him in Steph, and rightfully so.
Yeah. I've thought about Jonathan Kuminga, and I think he is best suited as your offensive 6-man. Bring him in and just let him worry about scoring, because he's not dumb, but he just can't be focused on a full game. He can only be focused on getting buckets. And you know what? That's fine for your 6-man, but he clearly is not a guy who you can depend on to make the right move at the right time. He's going to give you some bonehead plays. He's not a guy who's hard. Like, people will roast me for this, but watch Jonathan Kuminga play. He's not difficult to guard. He's not difficult to guard. He's easily picked. You can easily guard him. He's just not. He needs to have a head of steam, go into the basket. That's his game. Yeah. Anything else, he can't be out there.
When it comes to, and this is, I know people like to say about him that he does not have a high basketball IQ. I think people just throw that term out there without really understanding what it means, and really when you throw that out, what it's kind of coded for, what they're really trying to say, but they don't want to say it. They say that Jonathan Kuminga is not an intelligent basketball player. Jonathan Kuminga is just on a different wavelength.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying that he's mistake free, because he's not. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he operates much better when it's a one-on-one offensive situation for him.
That's it.
And when it's a one-on-one defensive situation for him. When Jonathan Kuminga has to operate within the framework of what the Warriors want from him in a team offensive and team D, he will make mistakes. And those mistakes, those defensive mistakes, drive Steve Kerr crazy, like not rebounding. Those offensive mistakes, like trying to get yours, where you could get the ball to Steph, who's doing his perpetual motion thing and relocate thing.
Yes.
That drives Steph crazy.
Yeah.
When the head coach and the guy who really runs the team, it's not a slam on Steve Kerr, because he'll tell you Steph's the dude. When the head coach and the guy who really runs the team are frustrated with you on both ends of the court, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap, dude. And, maybe it's going to mean him going to another team and getting a shot, and maybe he can
It's time for everybody to move on. They don't value Kuminga in the way that Kuminga wants to be valued.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Let him go and play the game he wants to play, because there is a team that will let him do that. But this is a different squad, and I think that when people get to the Warriors, they figure that out quickly. Like, oh, we need to play a different way.
And this is where you give Jimmy Butler credit, because as hard as I'm being on Jimmy Butler for what he's done or what he did over the last couple of games, I give him a lot of credit. And this is a feather in Jimmy Butler's cap, being a very smart basketball player and understanding sort of workplace dynamics. Is that the best way to put it? Is that he gets here, Steph's that dude.
Yep.
Play the back. And listen, if you know how to do it and you're willing to do it, playing with Steph Curry, it's got to be one of the most fun things you could do, and really easy if you know how to do it, or you're willing to learn how to do it, or you're willing to make adjustments. So I understand exactly why Jimmy, well, also that and $30 million a year in an extension, or maybe even more. I forget exactly what it is, but y'all going to pay me money
50.
The second fiddle to this guy who's going to get me open shots and open looks? Where the hell do I sign?
The only guys I've heard speak negatively to an extent about playing with Steph Curry are dudes who want to be one-on-one guys.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, remember Eric Pascal?
Yes.
He's gone on and on about how hard it was to play when Steph Curry got back, because he's like, I was doing my thing when Steph was going. Yeah, somebody's got to get the points on a shitty team. And that was you, Eric Pascal. But trust, when Steph Curry gets back, you're not that guy.
No.
You're not that guy.
And here's the thing. The male ego can be a very fragile and destructive thing at times.
Preach.
You gotta let that. You ain't gonna be better than that guy. You're not gonna be better than one of the all-time greats. Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
You're not.
Yeah, but I would say, wrap it up here with the Warriors and then moving on around the NBA. To me, it's a successful season. Considering, and again, the big what if is, what if Steph hadn't gotten hurt? Well, you know what? We keep playing this game, because what if you didn't have to go to 7 against the Rockets? What if the Rockets could make a shot? What if the Rockets could make free throws? We could play the what if game all we want to. But what we know,
what if they got Jimmy Butler earlier in the season?
Exactly.
They went more than 48 games.
Yeah. But what we know is this, is that Steph is still a very viable player and factor in the NBA. And his value, I think you even mentioned this, is that the Steph Curry, as well paid as he is, might be underpaid, considering that we saw how very valuable Steph was for the 4.5 games in which he didn't play in this Minnesota series. Because again, the way you can guard the Warriors without Steph is completely different than when he's out there.
When Steph was playing, people were talking about this is a championship contender.
Yeah.
And he's gone, and they can't close a game out.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
Let's get around the NBA, shall we? Guess what we got coming up, dog? A game 7 in the Western Conference semifinals. They just finished this bad boy 5,280 feet above sea level in Denver. The Denver Nuggets beat the OKC Thunder 119 to 107. So they will play a game 7 on what's today? Wednesday? I guess they're going to play a game 7 possibly on Friday or Saturday, but we will get a game 7, the two best words in sports between those two teams. Game in OKC. So, reflexively, Marcus, you go, all right, you got to go with the home team. Yeah. However, that man is doing stuff. That man, Nikola Jokic, right now is doing work. And OKC, listen, he's just a bigger version of Steph. When he's out there, the attention you have to pay to him because of what he could give you points wise and how much better he makes everybody else around him, or how much easier he makes the game for everybody around. They had Julian Strawther had almost 20 points tonight. Jamal Murray is sick and or injured. He had a decent game. Nikola Jokic and what he provides to everybody else, in my mind, even though they play the game two completely different ways and they're two completely different people, Nikola Jokic and Steph Curry, the value they have goes beyond how many points they can get you in a box score.
Yeah, man. Anybody who's watching Joker play basketball, if you love the sport, what this kid does is amazing every single night. He puts up video game numbers, like video game numbers. A center with triple doubles? Are you kidding me? For a season? Are you kidding me?
No, he's so good. His passing, like, that's the one thing I love. I love watching a good pass. He had a no-look pass last night. You got 7-foot center who has to do everything. Like he's everything. If he's not on, Denver's not winning. And all of that stress, all of that pressure, all of that attention. And it's not like OKC's a bunch of chumps. It's not like they don't have a team that can guard. They have Hartenstein, who is a big-bodied guy, who's not necessarily put out there to be a Jokic stopper. But again, he provides you the size that the Warriors don't have if they were in that situation. Hell, they didn't have size to deal with Julius Randle. But it's not like it's a bunch of chumps out there. And everybody knows that Jokic has to play at the top of his game for Denver to win. And OKC, the best defensive team in the league so far, has been powerless to stop it. And even though, Marcus, they have game 7 at home, with that tactical nuke playing the way that he's playing right now and the way that he has been over the past couple of weeks, I don't know, dog. We might end up seeing both 1 seed and 2 seeds in both conferences might not make their respective conference finals.
Very, very possible. Very, very possible. I mean, if I was betting, that would be a safe bet. I wouldn't be afraid to make that bet. And we're looking at Minnesota and Denver. Shocking. but and then all bets are off.
I mean, either one of them could obviously win that series. It's a hypothetical series. I mean, because we're not counting OKC out yet. Maybe, just maybe, we should be counting out Boston. We'll get to them in just a second because game 6 is coming up between New York and Boston tomorrow. But, I mean, listen, at the way it's looking right now, all of the teams that are remaining, with the exception of Boston, like I said, we'll get to them in a second. All of the teams that are remaining, with the exception of Boston, have more than a legitimate chance of winning the NBA championship.
Yeah. This is the parity that the NBA has been wanting. I don't know how much I love it, but right now it's fun. I don't know if it's necessarily. See, I'm one of these people. I think you need to have just one dynastic team in the NBA.
See, this is where you and I differ. I don't need dynasties. I just need good hoop. I just need good football. I just need good baseball.
Football is different.
I don't care about dynasties. Fine, we can just keep it to the NBA. I don't care. I want to see the best. And right now, what we've seen, and this has been proven, the best in the West, OKC and Denver, Minnesota. The best in the East, clearly, is Indiana and I guess the Knicks and Boston, even though, they were shooting themselves repeatedly in the foot with the 3-point shooting before Jason Tatum went out. I mean, give the defending champs their due. I don't care what market. I don't care if you're a new jack or if you're an established dynasty. I just want to see hoopers hoop. And what we've seen here in this postseason, it's been hoopers hooping, and we've seen injuries. Those are the two stories.
The injuries are insane. And these Achilles injuries are really kind of scary. Really scary. So many of them this year have taken out major stars. Who we had? Not Tatum, but we had.
Did Kyrie? Was it knee or was it Achilles for Kyrie? I think it was knee.
I think he had knee. Did AD have Achilles?
Oh gosh, I forget.
Or did he have ACL?
Who? Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
Oh boy. You know what? I forgot
ACL
about
or
him.
Achilles.
God, I could look. I'll look it up in a second. But yeah, I mean, I think
Dame Lillard's down. I said
that's who I was thinking about.
Dame Lillard.
But yeah, no, a lot of injuries, and people have been talking just the way the game is played. First thing people point to are the number of games. 82 game season is too long. They've been playing 82 games in the NBA for, well, seemingly ever. But what they haven't been doing in the NBA is playing with pace and space for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And just the way that the game is played right now, at the speed it's played, from end to end, from baseline to baseline, it's just putting a lot of these guys and their ligaments under a lot of stress that human beings haven't experienced before, because we are now, I mean, what would you say? We are probably 15 years into, freedom of movement, pace and space, getting up and down, shooting threes, where the game is just happening a lot faster, a lot quicker. And
everybody's athletic.
Yeah.
And you don't have a bunch of, remember you used to have those clodding power forwards and centers who the game was much slower.
They have absolutely been phased out of the league just because of how the game is played right now. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
You see, you think about the Showtime Lakers. That's actually a team I think could play today, but
it was just one, right? Just them. They were the only team.
Just them. The way they were constructed is perfectly suited for the NBA, the style of game we play in the NBA today.
Boston took care of business last night at home without Jason Tatum. Very impressive. They beat the Knicks. So that series is 3-2. It goes back to New York tomorrow for Game 6. Winner gets Indy, who won their series, gentleman's sweep, just like what Minnesota did to the Warriors, winning that one 4-1 over Cleveland. The winner gets Indianapolis. So big Game 6. I think even though Boston doesn't have its best player in Jason Tatum, I'll say the same thing about this series I said about OKC and Denver going to a Game 7, with Denver winning tonight. That Game 7 with Joker, OKC, and I say you should be nervous, but the pressure's on.
They should be nervous.
If you're New York, all of a sudden Boston got that one at home.
Yeah, you don't want that.
They get one in New York. Now they absolutely believe a Game 7 back home, New York. Watch your back, guard your grill, because it could get real bad for you.
You don't want to be messing around with these teams that have titles. They know how to play in those big games.
Yeah.
And you just setting yourself up for trouble if you let it go that long. Obviously, I'm saying you let it go. They have to make that happen, but take care of business as soon as you can, man.
And then if you're Boston and you do win this hypothetical Game 7, that would come only if they won Game 6. They would end up playing Indiana, who can score on anybody, anytime, anywhere. Wow. I mean, it's, just thinking about it, the best finals matchup now would be Indiana's offense against OKC's defense.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I've watched a lot of Indy this season. By the way, if for those of you who are wondering, League Pass is fantastic if you got YouTube TV and you got the multiple screens.
Got to do it.
The best. And so you end up watching a bunch of these teams that aren't in your market. And Indy, I watched them a lot. I'm like, okay, these guys, something about them just didn't sit right with me. They would win games. I'm like, yeah, I don't see them as kind of the way I feel about OKC. Like, I mean, they're winning games, but are they really that good? Will they survive the rigors of playoff basketball like this with Shea, SGA? Like, Is he going to be getting the same? If he's not getting the same foul calls in the postseason, is he going to be able to perform and lead that team? And he's done okay. And that's kind of how I felt about Indiana. But I mean, they are handling business.
They can score.
Handling business.
They can score. Before we move on to various non-sports thoughts, you want to watch a Wolves fan do cocaine?
Of course I do.
All right, here we go. Sprinkle it on.
Yeah.
Got him. It got him. Look at it. First off, this isn't just some grainy footage someone took with their phone from across the arena. They got old boy on the Jumbotron in 4K doing that booger sugar. Look at the look on his face.
The dude in the middle must be the dealer.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, just look
the
at
mustache, the phone out, setting up another deal.
That mustache says police officer or cocaine trafficker.
That's right.
Sometimes both, by the way. But you know what? That's the
100%.
discussion for a different time. Let's watch it again because we can. All right. Nobody's looking at me sprinkling stuff on my hand. Look at that.
Is that Dewey from Scream in the middle?
Oh man, because the internet is undefeated, I can only assume that people know exactly who this guy is. But yo, you gotta be you a wild boy if you just you pull out the what do they call that thing? What is that? I forget what they call it. There's like an actual name for it's not a vial, but whatever, the vial that the stuff came in. Sprinkle that over your hand and then take a knuckle bump in public. There's 18,000 people around, and they caught you doing it on the Jumbotron. You got caught, partner. All right, one more time, just because we can. Let's watch it because it's so good. Unassuming, nobody's gonna see me do this. Nobody. And then all of a sudden, he's talking to you about his business ideas for the next 3 hours. So
that's right.
There you go.
So I got this app, dude. I got this app.
So check it out, right? Okay, this is the thing. This is what we're gonna do, right? Oh, I got so many ideas.
By the way,
yes.
the fact that he is so blatant and open with his coke snortage is insane to me.
Oh yeah,
he must be so common there.
He's done that before. And that wasn't the first bump he took that night, which is why he was just doing it out there in the open. But yeah, old boy had Marcus, I can't quite put my finger on why old boy felt like he could just watch it again. Why not? Why he just do this in public? Marcus, I can't quite put my finger on what would give that guy the thought, like I can do this and nobody's going to stop me. I wonder what that is. Well, you know what? We'll come back to it later. The Diddy. I'm sorry. Yo, man. Speaking of wild, I'm only just getting bits and pieces. I'm not following this, but this Diddy trial thing, man. Yo, there ain't a jaily enough, and there ain't a helly enough for this dude.
Woo!
What a world-class asshole.
Woo! And I'd say what. So here's this thing. This is one of those cats who is fairly universally disliked and or hated. I remember he came into one of the stations that I was working for years ago, and he threw a shit fit over something. I cannot remember what it was. I think he got mad because we weren't playing a song, or we played a song that he didn't want to have played. It was something, but he threw a conniption fit, and he had to be asked to calm down, and they had to literally escort him out of the room, let him go calm down. This is like maybe 17 years ago.
So you saw the Diddy temper.
Oh yeah.
In real life, in real time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I was at a hip hop station. As the Negroes want to be. I was at one.
Settle down. Easy.
I was at a hip hop station.
Jesus.
But wait, I was also at a country station too, so
that's more interesting. We'll get into that later.
But yeah, they brought him in. He was trying to get spins for who was it? He was trying to get spins for a song of one of his acts, and there was a song that he wanted to have played. We played a different song, and that set him the fuck off. And he threw a literal 3-year-old tantrum. And we just had to like get him out. We just had to get him out.
Well,
go calm down somewhere.
I'd heard the stories about his bad behavior, but they all, and I shouldn't say they all, but like the big ones, obviously the Cassie video changed everything. When you saw that, you went, all right, you know what? He's just an irredeemable. He's a horrible person. But like, what was like? He supposedly blew up a guy's car.
I mean,
I forgot what it was, but you'd hear all these stories, and you're just like, really? Yeah. Is he out there? Is he out in the streets wilding like that? Like, is he really moving like that? And then I saw something. This is after the Cassie video, but I saw something that explained a lot. You know who Frank Lucas is, right? American Gangster.
Of course.
Denzel played him. He was a heroin dealer in Harlem, huge, in the late 60s, early 70s.
American Gangster.
Diddy's old man used to run with Frank Lucas and died running with Frank Lucas when Diddy was 3-4 years old. And I went, oh, this is how the family goes about doing their business. Like he's like, he got into the record game, to the rap game, because that was, that was hot, but also it was a front. Like he's always been about that life. And obviously the world has had their suspicions about his involvement in Tupac's death, and more notably in Biggie's death. But obviously nothing concrete that you could pin it down on. But now, I mean, with him, all his business being put out there, and rightfully so. I mean, Cassie having to sit there and testify, I couldn't imagine that. She's pregnant too, for goodness sakes. But knowing what we know now, yeah, man, it all tracks. Like, that's just a horrible, horrible dude, man. And he stayed for 20 years on being Mr. Take That.
Gross. Well, now we know he was serious. He meant it. It's so weird because he
ain't never fight no dudes though. Why you beating up on women? He come on now,
man. What? It is so strange. By the way, seeing the pictures of him in the courtroom without his Grecian formula is crazy.
Wait, you mean to tell me, Marcus, that Sean Combs might have been using some Just for Men? Nah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't believe that a 50-plus-year-old man had jet black hair and jet black facial hair.
And his hair is gray. Like the top of his head is gray.
I bet you it is.
Gray.
when you're staring at the rest of your life behind bars, the end of your empire, and eternal life in the 9th circle of hell, the best circle of hell. Yeah, I'd be going gray by the you probably see his hair turning gray in real time.
You know what makes me feel good about this as just a human being? Like, I don't have to question my morality or my ethics by not listening to his music, or having to make a choice about whether or not I want to listen to his music, because he ain't make no music.
Well, so, and whatever he was on, he made worse anyway.
Yeah, he ain't made no music. So I feel good about that.
I heard for the first time in a long time, I heard Victory, which is one of Big's. Like, Big's first verse on Victory is my favorite Big verse. But it's been a long time since I heard it. Yeah. It's to me, it's so good. But you listen to Diddy's attempt at rapping. First off, it's horrible because he's a terrible rapper.
Imitating Mace. That was his whole thing.
Which is why, old boy said, if you don't want the producer all up in the videos, all on record, come to death row. God, I wish they would put Suge Knight and Diddy in the same cell. Then you know what? And then film it. That'd be the only reality show I would watch. But you listen, and he's talking about, slapping people and choking people and this and that. And I'm like, this hits a little bit different. Now that I know way too much about how Sean Combs has been getting down over the last 20 years.
And what's funny is 50 Cent is having a field day.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to come out clean out of all of this. 50.
And 50 was like, it's funny because 50 was one of the first people to say, yeah, we need to check into this dude. And he was putting together the entire documentary, all this stuff. So he's having a field day with this stuff.
I mean, you go back and think about this for a second. That Snoop Dogg, who was easily, to a certain segment of the American population, one of the scariest people in the United States of America, and now he's Uncle Snoop.
Yeah.
You know, Ice Cube, again, another brother who was scaring the hell out of a lot of people. You know, Ice Cube ends up doing family movies, and you know, he's still out there doing matter of fact, he's going on tour. I think I might have to go check that out. But you know, Ice Cube isn't nearly as scary as he was. Ice-T now plays a police officer and has for seemingly 2 decades on Law and Order. And then you know, you look at Diddy, and he was the one where people thought he was going to be sort of the normal guy, and then you find out he is completely and totally abnormal. It's crazy how these hip hop icons from 30 years ago, you get there now, and they are thought of in a good way, and with Diddy in a bad way, rightfully so. They're thought of completely differently than they were 25, 30 years ago.
Absolute monster. So it's nice to see, you know, eventually they get their comeuppance. Eventually they do. It doesn't happen right away, but eventually these type of people get theirs. And I'm really, really standing up and applauding that he is finally getting his. I hate that Cassie had to go through all this stuff.
Yeah.
Or any of those people. The Freak-Offs sound horrific. By the way, Rod, I'm okay with some freaky stuff. That sounds horrific.
I thought the baby oil thing, I thought that was just made up. Like, it's baby oil. Like, it seemed too on the nose. I think that's weird. The thing. Like, okay, I can see him having these Caligula like parties. Like, okay, because you know, you got all that money. These people do end up getting into weird stuff. That doesn't shock me. Even though her testimony obviously is shocking. But, you know, the idea that rich and powerful people in the entertainment industry getting together for a naked good time, that's not a surprise to me. But the baby oil thing, like I said, just seemed a little bit too on the nose, right? Really, they had to bring baby oil in, and you find out the baby oil thing was 100% real. You're like, ew, gross.
I gotta tell you, dude, like, if I was just a wild and crazy kid in my 20s, that would be the biggest turnoff. We're gonna have tubs of baby oil. The first thing I would think is gross. Gross.
It seems unnecessary.
Why would I want that? What is sexy about that?
It seems gratuitous. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I am at something, and the fact that he named them Freak-Offs. Like, again, it seemed too on the nose. And then you find out, yes, it's on the nose.
Gross. Because
he's just a horrible human being. This
gross. I can handle a bunch of stuff. Pretty much nothing can really make me ill, gross me. I'm not that guy. I don't get grossed out by stuff that much. Mm-hmm. But hearing about this baby oil for some reason just makes me it just makes me, I just can't deal. Like, I can't even imagine one of my Marcus. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna get this tub of baby oil. We're gonna what are you doing?
How do I get it off me? Because you just can't take a shower. It just comes off, right? I mean, because isn't it like, you know, it's like the sheen on you. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. See, now I'm thinking about this way too much now. So you know what? Let's change the subject and let's get to something less gross but significantly more terrifying. Air travel in the United States of America. I think we talked about this not on the last Quality Hang, because that was Warrior Post game, but the one before that, we talked about the problems at the Newark airport where their radar systems just shut off for 30 seconds, which is 30 seconds way too long, or sometimes as much as up to 3 to 5 minutes. Well, you'll be happy to know that it hasn't gotten any better. Facts. it's gotten significantly worse.
Lord have mercy.
Saw this earlier today. For 3 hours, just one air traffic controller managed every flight at Newark Airport.
That's crazy.
If you don't know about Newark Airport or where it is, Newark is right on the other side of the Hudson River from New York City. You have 3 airports in New York. You have JFK, you have 3 airports that service New York: JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark. Newark and JFK are huge international airports. Right? A lot of traffic going in, a lot of traffic going out. If you've been in New York, you've probably flown in and out of Newark because it could be either more convenient or it could be cheaper. But a lot of people fly in and out of Newark. For those air traffic systems to go up in any airport, obviously, that's crazy. International airport, small regional airport, if you lose visual contact with an airplane for 30 seconds or minutes at a time, that is absolutely it's
it's frightening.
It's frightening, and it is like you would think we'd be up in arms about this, but no. Here's what the United States government is doing currently to fix this problem. The FAA has resorted to buying replacement parts on eBay and making new parts with 3D printers to fix the equipment at Newark International Airport. Oh God, we're all going to die.
Oh my Lord.
This video here is unbelievable. This is video inside of the air traffic control tower at Newark. This just came out a couple hours ago. And it shows you when the radar systems were offline and when they eventually came back on.
Unbelievable.
Radar screen, dark. This is last May 9th, so it's last Friday. Dark.
Dude.
Radar screen, dark.
Oh my God.
Back online.
Frightening right
Holy smokes. And we're just like, we'll get some parts off of eBay.
Wow.
Wow. So, Marcus, I know you're taking the flight in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Via con Dios homes.
Yeah, just for the record, this does not fill me with positive vibes.
But hey, now you're not thinking about Puff Daddy and Baby Oil anymore. See what I did for you?
I'm thinking about staying in the air.
You're thinking about renting a car and driving. That's what you're thinking about.
Oh, my Lord. It's awful.
Yo,
what is happening out here?
They lost radar contact for 3 minutes. For 3 minutes.
Yeah, I wonder. No, I guess there's no way that you would know if you're a passenger.
No,
unless you're on the. Why are we still in the air? Why are we just flying around in circles?
I mean, you wouldn't know unless the captain said something.
Yeah.
Or well, you know what though? Now that I think about it, I think you can listen to chatter between the pilots and the ground. Like I remember you as a kid, you used to be able to do that. Like you would wear your wired headphones and you could plug in and you could turn channels. You could listen to music or you could listen to the pilots converse with air traffic control. I would think on some planes you could still do that. Could you imagine if you one of those people that listens to pilot air traffic control chatter and you heard we have no visual contact with?
No, I don't want to hear it at all.
Good God.
At all.
Yo,
I want to be blissfully ignorant right there,
son.
Ooh,
And what are we doing? We're getting replacement parts off of eBay for one of the largest airports in the country. That's not a problem. Not a problem at
all. And there was one I just saw. Oh, this is John Joseph. He said his dad used to tell him he watched nukes being built with parts they had to get from Radio Shack.
Yeah, that doesn't make me feel any better about the situation.
Holy hell.
Well, I guess my bigger issue is sort of the ho-hum nature of we got to get this problem fixed more so than getting the parts off of eBay or 3D printing them. I mean, you would think that this would qualify as like a national emergency.
Yeah, I don't feel like we should be going for the clearance items in the bargain bin for this.
Yeah. I feel like just a little bit more attention should be paid to this.
Let's go for the premium shit.
But no, we seem to be cool. So if you're going to New York this summer, prayers up.
I hope the plane is up.
Yeah, I hope it's up and then it eventually gets down. I actually do have something worse than airplanes not being able to talk to the controllers for 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Did you know there's going to be a new John Madden movie coming out?
So I heard about this. Nicolas Cage is playing Madden.
Oh yeah, you've heard about it. Have you seen the
crazy.
pictures?
I saw a picture. I saw one picture. It's Nicolas. That's the one.
Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale playing Al Davis.
And Al Davis is pretty good.
So reflexively, because I can be a hater at times, if you haven't noticed. Reflexively, I don't like it when Hollywood messes with football because they don't know how to make football movies. Other than the original Longest Yard, because the other one's an abomination and never needed to be made. Other than the original Longest Yard and Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans is a perfect film.
Absolutely. Football movies in Hollywood. Well, 3. I'm sorry. North Dallas 40. 2 of these movies done in the 70s. North Dallas 40 and The Longest Yard. And then Remember the Titans. Other than that, football movies stink. And by the way, what's Any Given Sunday is a horrific movie. Miss me with that nonsense.
I was not moved by it one way or the other.
It is an Oliver Stone cocaine-fueled football fever dream. It is
that's what it is.
Terrible movie. And the only thing people quote from that movie or resonated with people from that movie is Jamie Foxx talking about being steaming Willie Beeman and that speech from Al Pacino. Other than that, that movie stinks out loud. Well, so I'm being reflexive and I'm being a hater. I don't like this on the surface. And you cannot tell me that Christian Bale playing Al Davis and old boy here playing John Madden are not going to chew scenery like they're eating saltwater taffy. You can't tell me that they're not going to do that.
That's a pretty good Madden.
No, it's not. Don't encourage this, Marcus. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Pretty good. Not Nicholas, not his face, but like that gear.
Oh, okay. So they got him some 70 Sandsbelt pants and they put a fat suit on him. Don't encourage this behavior, Marcus Osborne.
But that Al Davis was pretty good. That Al Davis was pretty solid. That was a strong Al Davis. Yeah, that's what I remember.
All right, so they got him in the pompadour. I ain't impressed.
I'm not mad at that one. This was before he went full on into the white jumpsuits.
Not impressed. I don't like it.
Well, we'll see.
Can't make me like it.
Coming out. Does it say when it's supposed to be released?
I did not see when it's coming out. But I would think over the next year or so. And my guess is with the Raider symbol on Nicolas Cage's jacket, supposedly John Madden's jacket, and John Madden being the focus of this movie, I guess the NFL, the Raiders, and the Madden estate, the Madden family are okay with it. So,
well, they had to sign off on it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
So I wonder if they got script approval. That'd be an interesting story.
That would be a very interesting story. I would think that, on condition of being able to use his likeness and because you could do a movie about anyone, but there's certain, like the movie they did about Jimi Hendrix, that Three Stacks, when he played Jimi Hendrix, and he did a good job, but they didn't use any of Jimi Hendrix's music because the Hendrix estate was like, nah, we good, dog.
Which is a waste, by the way.
And it killed the movie because he looked and he sounded like Jimi Hendrix, but at some point in time you're like, so when am I going to hear Purple Haze? Yeah. And you never heard Purple Haze. Yeah. So if I watch this movie and I don't hear The Autumn Wind as a pirate, I'm going to be like, all right, y'all didn't get the proper clearances.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I watch that film and I don't care how good it is, I don't care how Oscar worthy it is, if I don't hear John Facenda, Autumn Wind, it's worthless to me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
100% worthless to me. Like, what are we talking about?
So, I don't like it. I mean, just looking at John Madden down here in the corner and then looking at Nick. No, Marcus. You don't mean that. You cannot possibly be okay. Man, you from the town. You from Oakland, and you don't let this slide?
I don't necessarily love I don't really care about Nicolas Cage playing. I just like that look right there. That just reminds me of my childhood.
No, you know what I got to do? No, you get the Gucci Mane face. No, I cannot believe you are not outraged. I cannot believe that you do not have the same level of outrage that I do.
I just one thing I've learned long ago is I don't get as exercised about casting decisions as I once did because
Things you can't control.
because I've been wrong so many times. I've been so wrong so many times. What they cast as such and such, that's gonna be trash. And then you see it. Perfect example. I was a big comic book nerd. They announced Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. No way. That's gonna be awful. Then I'm like, oh shit, this dude is great as Iron
It
Man.
might end up being the greatest superhero portrayal of all
Now,
time. So yeah.
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. I'm like, what? Wolverine is 5'3". Like, how is Hugh Jackman gonna play Wolverine? Oh,
He nailed it.
All right, maybe I should just shut the fuck up and
He nailed it.
Wait till the movie come out.
Boy, wait till you hear my my very over thought musings on the new Superman movie coming up.
Oh,
they really gave Superman a dog, huh? All right. Anyway, we'll get to that later. On this date, Marcus, little game we like to play, May 15th. Would you like to go back in time and see what interesting happenings went on in American pop culture? All right, my brother. On this date in 1986, in my estimation, the most important rap album in history hit record stores. What's a record store? Ask your parents. Run DMC's Raising Hell came out on this date in 1986.
Yeah.
The question I have for you first, Marcus.
Yeah.
Did you have both copies of Raising Hell? Did you have the purple one? And did you have the green one?
So I had a green album and I had the purple cassette.
Yeah, man.
This is, if we ever want to have a real conversation about music and hip hop, we can do that because this is actually one of the most interesting things to me. This album is so like nobody talks about it anymore. This is a classic hip hop album. It literally is one of the most important albums in the history of the genre.
It's a game changer, literally.
Because it crossed over hip hop from black people into the mainstream. Hip hop from white cats, that was already a thing. Like we had the Beasties, they were popping. But when they accepted black folks doing their genre, a triple platinum album, I think it was, Run DMC, Boys from the Hood. These are little boys from the hood, kids. That was a game changer because it kind of told people, oh, you can make money off of this genre without having to Beastie Boy. By the way, love the Beastie Boys. I'm not knocking the Beastie Boys. Love the Beastie Boys. But let's face it, most of the hip hop back then wasn't getting mainstream love unless it was done with a white front.
Hey, man, listen. Back in 1986, hip hop was still having trouble being played on black radio stations.
Facts.
All right. Facts. So it was still fighting. Hip hop was to be accepted by its own. This album comes along and it's a game changer for several reasons, but mainly, whether people like it or not, Walk This Way, that collab with Aerosmith. And also understand this. That song and this album resurrected Aerosmith from the dead. That song yesterday. Not only brought rap to the forefront and made it mainstream and made it okay for a certain segment of the American population to be okay with it. It resurrected the career of Aerosmith, and they went on to make those terrible songs, I'm crazy and I'm dying and all that stuff. They make all the movie soundtrack songs, but that resurrected Aerosmith's career. Also resurrected Adidas. Hey, man, wasn't nobody checking for Adidas until Run DMC came along, and then everybody had to get themselves a pair of shell-toe Adidas, or maybe you was rocking the Ewans if you were down with that. Like, they saved Adidas and Aerosmith. Peter Piper, one of the great seminal hip-hop jams of all time. Like I said, this is in my estimation. Are there better albums? Absolutely. Are there more politically intense and charged albums? Run DMC wasn't about politics. Public Enemy, they did that. I love me some PE and I love Nation of Millions. But this album right here, it hit the streets.
Pivotal.
It hit the hood, and then it hit the suburbs, and then it hit the mainstream. And from that point on, from that day, May 15th, 1986, how we listen to music and the music we listen to changed forever because of this album. Full stop.
This is the album that anchored hip hop in as a musical genre. Because from then on, you were never going to have people questioning whether or not it was just a fad or any of that type of stuff. Hip hop was solidified with the success of this particular album. Everything else after that was gravy, but this is the one that moved it into the mainstream permanently.
Let's go to the baseball diamond. 9 years ago today on May 15th, fairly pedestrian game between the Blue Jays of Toronto, Canada, and the Texas Rangers. All right.
The worst of that exchange.
Here we go. Oh, man, push me. Bam! Attitude adjuster. Jose Bautista and Rougned Odor. Chin checker. And the glove slap. After he checked that chin, is the best part. Bautista went in there. He went in there heavy back when you could actually go into second base heavy. They've changed the rules. Bautista went in there heavy, and he thought Rougned Odor, which is one of the great sports names of all time, he thought that he could go up there and press him, but he didn't realize that Odor was about dropping them dogs. Oh, let's watch again because it's so good. Uno más, por favor.
The worst of that exchange.
Oh, yeah, buddy? You're smaller than me. Pah! And then Adrian Beltre comes in. Wait. Hit that button, and then he slaps him over the top of the head with the glove, and then Adrian Beltre grabs Bautista, and you ain't getting away from Adrian Beltre. Oh, man. That's That's probably the last baseball fight, like legitimate fight. I'm not talking testosterone presentation where everybody runs around and then they stare at each other.
Was it like 15 years ago?
9 years ago.
9 years ago.
But as far as like, them blows being throwed, that might be the last baseball fight we really got because they just don't do that nowadays.
Oddly enough, I kind of fell off watching baseball regularly right after this. Wonder why. Maybe we need more fights in baseball. Maybe that's what it'll help. You know what? I just solved baseball's problem. More fights.
More fights?
More fights.
Okay.
More fights.
Well, listen.
I guarantee I watch more.
Just like the NBA, they didn't want to fight. Because listen, Jose Bautista did not want to fight. Rougned Odor, he was about the beats. He wanted to fight. And so, what do they say? Styles make fights. Also, what makes fights is having two guys who actually want to fight.
Bautista got up and he didn't realize that there was nobody to hold him back. So now he's already committed. Well, he exactly. And he thought with the push that was going to be enough because,
the problem was, let's watch it one more time. But if you notice, he didn't guard his grill. And if you're going to push somebody and have your hands down by your side, then you deserve to get that chin checker. Oh, we're going to watch it one more.
Well, Bautista got the worst of that exchange.
Yeah. How you going to push a dude and then have your hands down? Right there, you got to have him up and you better throw right there and just hiya!
Yeah, that was so square.
The glove slap's the best part, though. The glove slap's the best part. When he slaps him on top of the head with the glove, yes.
You got Jason is talking. Remember, Tim Anderson got knocked out.
Oh, and Tim Anderson hadn't been right since. I forgot about that.
He knocked his average down 150 points.
Knocked him out of the league. Yo, hey man, but that's the thing though. Don't start none, won't be none. And then if you're gonna start something, you better be ready to handle your business.
That's real talk, man. That's real talk. Tim Anderson got spanked.
Getting that attitude adjuster. I do though. I hate to bring it down. We're having a good time watching Jose Bautista eat a punch, get that one hit a quitter. But one of the darkest days in American history took place on this date back in 1980, May 15th. And I think it says a lot about us as a country that we were able to get past this day where this happened and continues to happen on a daily basis. And we've just we found a way to make peace with it. On this date in 1980, his first appearance on Sesame Street, and that it like Raising Hell changed the game for the better. This made everything appreciably worse.
Was Elmo on back then?
So as we continue now, 45 years into Elmo's reign of terror over the American people, and more importantly, over America's children, stay strong. One day we will be rid of this red menace, and one day, I believe this, Marcus. One day, Bert, Ernie, Cookie, Oscar, and Big Bird, and Kermit will all once again rightfully take their place at the top of the Sesame Street Muppet food chain.
See, I've never felt like they lost it. You can't talk Muppets to me without them. You can't talk Muppets to me without Mr. Snuffleupagus. Hi, Bird. That's the greatest.
Hold on, time out.
Hi, Bird.
I've known you for a long time. I had no idea you had a Snuffleupagus impression in your repertoire. Had no idea. That's one of the great things about life, is that when you still learn things, or you're still surprised by things in life, especially by people you know, and you have no idea how tingly my chest is right now, finding out that you have a very good, I would dare say aces, Snuffleupagus impression. Listen, man, I know you ain't some trained circus monkey, but if I can ask, could you please give me one more snuffy impression?
Those of us of a certain vintage understand who this guy is. Hi, Bird. Hi, Bird.
Remember when they had him invisible and Big Bird was walking around like, no, it's my buddy, the giant woolly mammoth. And they're like,
yeah, nobody
right,
can see him but
Bird.
Big Bird. Nobody can see him but Big Bird.
So there you go. On this date, May 15th. You know who Odor should have punched? He should have punched Elmo right in the face. So yeah, on this date, May 15th, Raising Hell came out in '86. Jose Bautista got the beats 9 years ago, and Elmo made his appearance on the street now that he completely and totally runs. Because if you watch Sesame Street, all you get is Elmo. You don't get anybody else. Elmo took over on Sesame Street on May 15th, 1980. So there you go.
So Kermit was the guy, was the face of Sesame Street for decades.
Yeah, Kermit was the dude. Yeah,
for
man.
Decades.
Yeah. People are loving your Snuffleupagus impression.
Oh, hey, Bird, you got any more? That's from Chappelle.
John Joseph, he understands that Elmo is a scourge.
I can't stand that Rich. That's hilarious.
Goodness. You know what? Maybe I'm a little tough on Elmo. He is only 3 years old, but you put yourself out there, then you take over Sesame Street, then you damn well better be able to deal with what comes.
Hey man, I saw Sinners. Anything that is still 3 years old, 45 years later, can't be trusted.
Before we get to the best thing I heard today, do we have time for a little humans versus animals? You want to do some?
Why not?
Humans versus animals.
Why not?
Humans versus animals, Ocean Edition. And let me say again, when human beings get into or on the water, as soon as you get in or on the water, you immediately become a 3.5 point underdog. And the deeper you go into, or the farther out you go on the water, the higher that number gets. Okay. We are not aquatic creatures. All right.
That's right.
We got nothing for the citizens of the deep. I would like to present to you a video from Australia, which of course is the world's Florida, where the environment and the animals are as deadly, if not more, than the people. I would like to show you a couple messing around underwater and finding out. Yeah. No thanks. By the way, that is that lady screaming as she and her partner are being attacked by a bunch of sharks on camera. Nope. like I said, Marcus, as soon as you get into or on the water, you immediately become a 3.5 point underdog.
Yeah,
and
man,
they
I
right
mean,
there, no good.
I don't understand the need, the necessity to go into these people's houses and start taking pictures of them.
Thank
Like,
you.
I don't get it.
Lead them
I
sharks
don't get it.
alone.
Leave
They don't
them
want they
sharks
don't want to be
alone.
bothered. You bother them, now they have to bother you.
Dude, did you see the footage of the whale swallowing that dude?
I synced that. Yes. And by the way, I did say synced. SEENT. I synced it. Oh yeah, I saw it.
That is
Like,
my nightmare.
it's like
That
it's
is
real
my
life.
nightmare.
It's like Jonah and the whale. Like, yeah, real life.
That
Yeah.
is my nightmare. I
And
have friends who
he
always
was
wanna-
on top of the water. He was
on the
in
water.
he was in a waterproof vessel, and
Crazy.
Moby Dick was like, I'm gonna see what this dude tastes like. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Spin him back out, and it was on camera.
Crazy. This dude was turned into a loogie right on camera in front of us.
He was
Right.
like,
It is literally my nightmare because I have friends who always talk about going whale watching. I want to be close to the whales. I'm always like, nah, why would I want to do that?
let me tell you this from experience, recent experience. You know where you can watch whales from? The beach.
Yes, you can.
All right.
Yes, you can.
I saw whales frolicking, like on the Pacific Life commercial. Seriously, like jumping up and
Yes.
down, turning around, flapping their tails, frolicking. I
Yes.
saw all of that from the safety of a beach chair.
And it was just as amazing to watch.
It's one of the most unforgettable experiences of my life.
I
And it was a
don't
great
need-
experience where I didn't feel like I was going to die at any point in time. Why? Because I was on good old terra firma,
Yeah. And then people are
solid
like,
ground.
people are like, well, Marcus, whales don't want you. They don't want to eat you. Yeah, but that don't mean nothing because when they open that mouth, everything goes in.
They don't have hands.
Everything
So the
goes
only
in.
way they're going to find out whether something is cool or not is with their mouths.
And then the dude was saying, yeah, I was out there. And then all of a sudden, everything went dark.
I bet it did.
He said everything went
I
dark.
bet it
and
did.
He realized, oh, I'm inside this whale. What are we doing out here?
Man, leave them ocean animals alone.
I
all
agree,
right?
dude. I
Leave them
agree.
alone. Leave them alone.
100%.
They like just out there taking pictures, look at the nice sharks. And the shark's like, no, you didn't get my permission for this. You ain't from around here, homie.
And that's just the sharks and the whales. Like you see some of the horrific sea monsters that people have been discovering over the past few years because we don't know exactly how many of these weird things are down there.
Bro, it is freaky as all get out. Like there are Diddy parties happening in the ocean right now.
That's right.
Okay, there's aquatic sea creature Diddy parties. They
That's
are
right.
freaking off right now.
That is right.
30,000 leagues. Believe that. Octopus got
Squirting
8
purple
arms.
liquid
What you think they're
everywhere.
doing with them 8 arms? All right, what you think? Think about it.
I don't
Now
think
you're
none of
thinking
that.
about it because I'm thinking about it, and I just mentioned as you should thinking about it. Now you're thinking about what octopuses, pies, whatever is doing with all them arms. What you need all them arms for? Okay. All right. Now that I've slandered the entire octopus population,
That was a
Octopi?
PSA. That's not slander.
is that what it
That is a PSA. People need to understand what they're getting into.
boy. So this is episode 9 of Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and Friends. This is only going to get weirder. So this is just how we get down. Might as well end it right now. I've already mentioned that octopuses, pies, I don't know, are having Diddy parties, freak offs. Best thing I heard today. It's what I like to end the show on. And best thing I heard today, well, NFL schedules were released for all 32 teams yesterday. I don't care. Doesn't do anything for me. The only thing I pay attention to is what the primetime games are going to be, just for my own personal information, work purposes, what have you. Niners are going to have 5 primetime games, which is surprising to some people considering how the Niners did not have a good year last year. But I think it says, that people, the networks still find the Niners to be a team worth putting out there for national consumption, and also that they're going to have much better year than they did last year. It's not set in stone, obviously, but that's what the NFL and the networks that broadcast the NFL are saying, that the Niners are valued and viable when it comes to those primetime games. One of the teams they put on primetime way too much is the Dallas Cowboys. Well, maybe, just maybe, the networks have figured out that all Cowboy games ain't good Cowboy games to watch, because this is the best thing I've heard today, is that Fox wants fewer Cowboy games on their 2025 schedule. Now, Fox does not do primetime games, but Marcus, this says a lot to me. Fox is the NFC. Cowboys, obviously, in the NFC. And they realize that the Cowboys are, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, yeah, cheeks. And Fox is like, nah, we good. you got some more of them Chiefs games we can have, even though they're in the AFC.
Cowboys.
I love it. The network that basically has created an NFL empire based on showing the Dallas Cowboys has finally come around to what millions of Americans have been saying. Hey, how come we keep seeing the Cowboys in these 125 Pacific, 425 Eastern games? Yeah. And how come we keep seeing the Cowboys, these losers, because they are losers, how come we keep seeing these losers in these primetime games? Good for you, Fox. That's the best thing I've heard today.
Yeah, nothing drives me crazier than seeing Cowboy fans virtually every place I go. It annoys the hell out of me. During football season, they are like just little parasites everywhere. I hate it. I hate it so much.
And these are people who, like, if you're from Dallas or North Texas, all right, fine, you're going to be a Cowboys fan. But if you're not from Dallas and you chose to be a Cowboys fan, not only based on the strength of how good they used to be 30 years ago, but if you chose to be a Cowboys fan while they're stinking up the joint as they have been, well, for the last 30 years, I see that as a character flaw, quite frankly.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. Hate those dudes.
You got a best thing you've heard today before we go?
Best thing I heard today, boy, look. As you know, I am a big music and movie nerd, and a classic horror franchise continues tomorrow with the release of a new Final Destination film, one of the most underrated, underappreciated horror franchises of all time. Probably because there's not like a single like villain you could point to.
How many of these movies have they made?
I want to say maybe 9, 8.
Wow,
8 or 9. The concept around them is fantastic. They are quite literally one of my all-time favorite horror franchises because, like I said, there's no villain. The villain is death. So the entire concept is that there's a plan for you in every day of your life, and when you die, that's your time to go. We always talk about when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Well, that's death. And somehow, some way, every now and then, somebody messes with that plan, and death is like, oh, you got away this time, but don't you worry, I got time. And that's the whole plot of this franchise. For those who haven't seen it, the Final Destination movies are simply about the idea that there is a plan for everybody's death. And somehow, some way, you get messed with death's plan, and death still finds a way to come back and get you. It's an amazing concept.
I've never seen a movie, and I've seen the commercials for the latest one, and I'm like, yo, dog, what is this? But the people, that's why I asked how many they made. I knew they made multiple. I didn't know they made damn near 10. People like you who bang with them really love these Final Destination movies.
They are so creative. Like, just now, granted, the last few have been cartoonish, but like if you saw the first one, the second one, they are. The last time I got creeped out by any horror film was one of the Final Destination movies, because just the idea of something in everyday life almost happening to you, that time where you didn't get on the airplane, and because you didn't get on the airplane, you didn't die in that plane crash, or because you decided to take a different route than you normally take on your way home,
right.
You missed being hit by that car.
You took the stairs instead of the elevator, and
Exactly.
you didn't fall down the elevator shaft.
Exactly. And that's what's so trippy about it, because since then I felt like I always have like these Final Destination moments where I'm like, oh, if I didn't.
Wait.
Woo, it's trippy, dude.
Okay, so before we went live,
yeah,
we were talking about Marcus. I hope you don't mind me sharing this. We were talking about Marcus's insomnia. And how we are completely different, because I am a world-class sleeper. Okay, I can go to sleep anytime, anywhere. Ain't much going on up here anyway, so it's real easy for me to turn the lights out. All right, and just be like, well, it's the end of the day. Guess I'll go to sleep. Not a problem. Marcus is completely different. Marcus is an insomniac. Marcus, maybe just maybe, because it seems like you have a lot going on in your head as opposed to me, who is I'm thinking about ways to beat up Elmo and end this 45-year reign of terror. Maybe just maybe these Final Destination movies and sort of this macabre, sliding doors thing you got going on is maybe just maybe that's keeping you up at night. I don't know.
This Rod Brooks.
I'm just trying to help you.
These films, they move me.
They speak to me on a molecular level. You just don't understand.
They comfort me. I sleep better at night knowing that I've seen a good one.
Okay. All right. Well, damn it. I hope when we finish Quality Hang tomorrow, because we're going to go live tomorrow. We didn't have a chance to go live yesterday on Wednesday, so we're going to go back to back. When we finish Quality Hang tomorrow, you get to your local Cineplex, get yourself a big ass bucket of popcorn, and then you watch 99 Ways to Die or Final Destination 99 Ways to Die, or whatever they call it. I don't know.
The review is forthcoming. It's going to be amazing.
I just love the fact that you are such a movie snob, yet I'm just going to watch death stalk people that cheated it. I'm going to watch that for 92 minutes.
One of the things that I would always tell folks when I was reviewing films, I always said that I was a good reviewer. What made me good was the fact that I appreciate films for what they are. Like, I don't lay my expectations on them.
Right.
If I'm going to see a comedy, I just want to laugh.
Right.
If I'm going to see a scary movie, I just want to see people get murdered. Like, if I'm going to see a drama, then the bar is lifted for dramas. But just give me the basics. Make me laugh with the comedy. Scare me with the. If I want to see an action movie, I'm not looking for people to win Oscars. I just want to see a good firefight. Some naked people and some foul language. That's all I need.
Marcus is a simple man with simple needs. Naked people and firefights. As always, Quality Hang is proud to be sponsored by Hop Monk Taverns. 3 taverns to choose from: Sonoma, Novato, and in Sebastopol. Great food, great craft beer selection. Also, they got spirits too if you want to get your drink on. But the best thing they do at Hop Monk, even though the beer and the food is absolutely great, the atmosphere great in all 3 places. Live music, venue extraordinaire. Check out the website hopmonk.com to see what they have going on there live music wise at all of the venues. The chat was really, really active tonight. The Quality Hangers in full effect. I try to get to as many of the comments as I can and then put them up on the screen while we're talking. I'm still trying to get trying to get that down where it's somewhat seamless, but we love it when you folks get active in the chat. So to all the Quality Hangers, we see you. Thank you so very much. And yes, again, we will go back to back. We will do our normal Friday night Quality Hang tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Marcus, per usual, it's a stone groove, my man.
Yeah, baby.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow at 8. And as always, be good and be good at it. We'll see you.